You are your worst enemy. Deep inside you lurks this dark and manipulative presence that is holding you back in life. The sad reality is that 9 out of 10 people never overcome this challenge within. But to win in life, to change for the better, and to create a future you truly desire, you have to win the battle within first. So, is it time to change for the better? Is it time to take control of the enemy within? Then this video is for you. To be honest, I have lied to you. There is no enemy within, but it's complicated. Here's why. For you and me to make lasting changes, we first have to understand why and when certain aspects of our personality take control. The first step is to become conscious of when the super you, the inner child, and the monkey you take control, and how to deal with them best. And this is how you do it. You have to understand who is in charge of your mind. Are your thoughts currently ruled by your dopamine addicted monkey mind? Or are you motivated, ready to tackle every challenge and striving to be a best you? It is crucial for us to understand this inner dialogue and to find ways how to balance how our inner dialogue affects us on a day-to-day basis. And to gain clarity over what triggers flare up certain aspects of our personality to take over our thoughts, we have to become inspectors of our inner dynamics. And the simplest way to do that is to either take mental notes whenever you notice your inner child taking over or your dopamine addicted monkey mind taking over your thoughts and your actions. And even better would be to set aside some time to really reflect on what led to a certain aspect of your personality to flare up, and to note down what certain triggers led to that scenario. And the next step in gaining clarity over the different aspects of your personality is to write down what truly defines your inner child. What are the problems you're dealing with when this aspect of your personality takes over? What is this aspect of your personality trying to tell you, and why is it so overprotective? And the same goes for your sober self and for your monkey self. What are the trigger habits that lead to your monkey self to flare up? Or what is the vision framework, and what are the habits that make you act as your super self? And if we can agree on one thing, then that is that we want to be our best selves. So try to really nail down what habits make your best self, what purpose you want to follow in life, and what values make up the personality type of your super self. And the second aspect of winning the inner battle is to learn how to over-communicate with yourself. I personally learned how to maintain a clear mind and to calm myself down in difficult situations by talking to myself. I know it kind of sounds strange, but it's a thing that many people haven't mastered yet. And how that really works is that you have to understand what is moving you. You have to gain a meta perspective over your current scenario, over the situation you're in right now, and you have to develop a objective perception of how to deal with difficult situations on the road to winning this inner battle. And to develop this objective perception, you have to distance yourself from what is happening in the moment. Really take this bird's eye perspective over the current problems and issues that you're facing, and try to draft the roadmap of how to deal with it. What is the problem? What is a possible solution? And what are the things you should do to react best in the scenario? By doing that, you will be able to take control over every situation and always keep a calm head. The next important thing about over-communicating to yourself is to address conflicts that appear in your mind as soon as possible. If you feel stressed, if you feel like you are currently stuck in a rut and you don't know how to get out of it, you have to deal with it immediately. Do not push it back, or do not let your dopamine addicted monkey mind take over to distract you from the problem you're currently facing. You have to sit down and take time to solve it with yourself. In most cases, the best advice we can get is from ourselves, and we only get to craft this advice by sitting down and really diving deep into the issue that we're facing. And by avoiding this and pushing it back pushing it forward into the future, we're only making it more difficult for us to solve this conflict. Therefore, always address issues immediately. It's like in a team or in a relationship. The more you let something linger in the back, the higher the risk that you will stack more and more of those types of conflicts, and one day they will just surface and explode, and you will be overwhelmed and not know how to deal with them. That's why deal with inner conflicts immediately. Further on, the next important thing we should consider when over communicating with ourselves is to jump into different roles, to learn how to use the aspects of our personality to deal with a situation best. It's like in a team. As a leader in a team, you have to understand what the team needs at a certain moment. Do they need someone to motivate them? Do they need someone to portray a vision? Or does a team need a coach that asks the right questions to get them from point A to point B? Here is where we have to use what we did in the last step, and that is to take this profile of our different personality aspects and really analyze what those personality aspects need to then know when to use them best and how to help them overcome the problems you're currently facing. Another aspect that I find increasingly interesting is that in our professional lives, we have a lot of retrospectives. We analyze what went wrong in certain scenarios, we analyze what we can do better, but when dealing with our inner conflicts and with ourselves, we often ignore this incredible tool. And what we have to do is to get into a habit of going into daily retrospectives. A lot of people do this by journaling. At the end of the day, if you can take like 1 to 2 minutes of your time to just have a inner monologue where you talk to yourself about what is currently going on, what are your challenges, and what you should do, what advice you have for yourself to conquer the next steps. And by doing that, we can all get a step closer into defeating the enemy within. Step number 3 in winning the inner battle is to envision your best self. In step number 1, we already talked about creating a profile of your inner child, your monkey self, and your best self. But in this step, I really want you to dig deep into the sacrifices you have to make to free resources, to free mental resources to dedicate yourself into solving the challenges and problems you're currently facing. And the most important takeaway that I want to share with you in this video is to hold yourself to the highest standard possible in the aspects of life that are most important to you. And that's why you have to define what is important to you. You have to find out what your values are, what your purpose in life is, and you have to define what habits help you reach those goals. To do that, we have to find out where we have to sacrifice energy and time spent. There is this amazing example where you have different aspects of life, such as family, relationships, fitness, career, and so on, and you only have a limited amount of energy that you can allocate to those aspects. And here's where you really have to draw out where you want to put your points into, because you can't do all at once. There will be no way to balance all of these aspects because you don't have that much time and energy in a day. And after that is done, here's where the habits aspect kicks in. In my case, fitness is the most potent trigger habit that I can adapt for myself, because being active regularly improves my sleep schedule because I prioritize it to be better at the physical activity that I'm doing. It helps me prioritize my eating habits so I can fuel my body to achieve the goals more effectively. And that's why I associate my best self with a person that prioritizes physical activity. Finding these trigger habits that make you a better person or align you with your better self is where you have to go to next. And after that, find out what drives you to do your best work. What is your purpose in life? What do you want to achieve? And what does your best self burn for? It could be to serve people by helping them make better decisions. It could be to serve people by helping them increase their fitness capacities. You just have to find out what makes you burn with passion. And after finding that thing, you have to align all of your actions to really craft the road ahead to fulfilling your purpose. And when that is done, when you have aligned your actions with your purpose, when you have found out what trigger habits turn you into your best self, and you know where and what to sacrifice to dedicate your energy and time to the most interesting and most important aspects for you in your life, then you have created this amazing vision of what should be your best self. And when that is done, every action you do on a daily basis has to be aligned with this compass of your best self. When following this compass, you always know what to do when you feel bad. You always know where to go next when you don't know how to get out of a rut. This is what truly sets you apart from 90% of people out there who let themselves go and don't hold themselves up to the highest standard possible. Step number 4 to winning the inner battle is to lean into discomfort. Discomfort steers the direction. What you fear doing is where you have the most growth potential left. And this is something where people have to challenge themselves on a constant basis to become better at what they're doing on a professional level, but also in their personal lives. Because if you're scared to start this new job that you've been fearing for a long time because you're too scared that you won't be able to fulfill the requirements, then you will never grow out of your shell. And the sad reality is that most people stay in this comfort zone for their entire life, and this is what gives fuel to this inner battle, because you will at the end of your life look back and think about all of the battles that you have fought, all of the adversity that you have overcome, and you won't be thinking, I lived such a comfortable life and I've never faced adversity, I've never got myself into a discomfortable situation and I was always safe and sound. This is not what you will be thinking. You will regret not taking that step. You will regret not taking the chance to become a better professional. You will regret not taking the chance of talking to that one girl or boy that you always found interesting. Therefore, to win the inner battle, you have to lean into discomfort. Whenever you feel anxious, whenever you feel scared to take the step in a certain direction, you should consider doing it nonetheless. And not only should you consider it, you should immediately take action on it. And here is where we truly ascend to become our better selves. Becoming better means defeating the obstacles that are ahead of us to get to the next step. And another point that I really want to stress is that avoiding discomfort in the moment only leads to more discomfort in the future. And another example I like to make is a fitness one. If you delay improving your physical fitness at a young age, creating this strong basis, increasing your bone density, your muscle mass, your flexibility, you will regret it at an old age, because at that point you won't have as much time to fix what you could have prepared for when you were young. Therefore, never push hard decisions to the future, because you never know if your future self can deal with those problems that you delayed because you were too scared to face discomfort in that moment and making the hard decisions that lead to an easier life in the future. Therefore, lean into discomfort, lean into adversity, and always take those chances to grow as a person. With that said, thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any tips for how someone can conquer their inner battle, then please leave them in the comments below, and make sure to like, subscribe, and watch this video if you're interested in learning how to solve difficult problems and how billionaires and ancient philosophers tackle them using first principle thinking.